Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend Exploring Music Through Prince. This is actually recorded the same day as part one, but with a different shirt because I appreciate great production value, and I don't want you to look at this video and be like, is it the same one as the last one? Because he didn't change his shirt. I changed my shirt in this one. But last time we went through brackets 1 and 2 of this first and last Prince Madness here for 2021. Again, there's a link in the description, so if you want to download the brackets yourself and do it, follow along. I want to see if we end up with the same winner at the end. Most likely we will not. There were a lot of weird choices that I had to make in the first one, and I assume that I am the only one who will make the choices in that way, but I want to know who your guys' winner is. So a little bit ago, I posted on all my socials, I wanted to know what the first song that you could think of and the last song you could think of in terms of Prince's catalog. This became the first versus last bracket for 2021. Today, I'm going to go through bracket 3, which is compiled of songs that you guys listed as your firsts, and bracket number 4, which was all of the last songs. Then I'm going to compare the winners of those two brackets against the winners of brackets 1 and 2, and we'll finalize the winner of the Prince Madness competition of 2021 here on Prince's Friend. If you like videos like this, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you always know when we release a new video. Let's get into bracket number 3. So essentially, the randomizer started me off with the hardest choice. I don't even know if there's a harder choice than this. I Would Never Take the Place of Your Man, which is one of my very favorite kind of rock things off of Sign of the Times. I assume there's a lot of Sign of the Times on here because of Sign of the Times Super Deluxe coming out. Everybody's thinking about that. So that's why you'll notice there's first and last songs from Sign of the Times all over this place. But it's going up against DMSR. DMSR is like my very favorite song from 1999, and oh gosh, like one is very dancey, the other one's very rocky, one is about like just having fun in the moment, the other one's more about like future looking and like stuff like that, and it's super, super hard to make this decision. This one is, I wasn't expecting the randomizer to make it completely easy for me, but also, wow. But just as an instinct, I'm going to go with DMSR. Again, I feel like it probably being one of my all-time favorite Prince songs. And Prince's 80s songs aren't even always the ones that most appeal to me, but DMSR 100% does. I love you. I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man, but I'm so sorry. So the next pairing is Endorphin Machine versus When Two Are in Love. Endorphin Machine being my all-time favorite song off of the Gold Experience. So here we go again. Like, I don't know how you guys knew what some of my favorite songs were, but you're putting them up against like fan favorites. When Two Are in Love, to me, good song. Doesn't hold a candle to Endorphin Machine. Endorphin Machine has an amazing scream, is super rocky, has the organs behind it. Prince in his slave era, like goodness, it opens up the Gold Experience album in just a massive, massive way. Now, When Two Are in Love, Prince loved it enough to put it on both the Black Album, and it was the only song to get carried over onto Love Sexy, so he liked it enough. He's like, nah, I definitely want this on the album. But, oh my gosh, like, if you pit it against Endorphin Machine, again, two very different songs, there's just, I can't justify having it win. I just can't. So Endorphin Machine wins the second pair up. So let's see what the next one is. $1 Million Show versus Party Man. You know what? It's weird. I am a big proponent of Hit and Run Phase 1. Whenever people like tell me how terrible it is, I'm always just like, I don't know what album you were listening to. I think that whole album is like really damn good. I would say honestly though, the starting track of that album, $1 Million Show, is one of the weaker ones on there. I think most of the other songs on that album beat $1 Million Show, as good as that song is. But so to put it up against Party Man, randomizer, you stupid randomizer, it's not even a fair fight. Party Man is just like, it was such Prince goodness. It was like the best that Prince did, I think, near the end. So I'm going to say Party Man. I think it definitely wins, black and white, red and green. I'm completely out of tune. So, but yeah, I'm going to give it to Party Man. I feel like it definitely beats out $1 Million Show. So the next one is Reflection versus 77 Beverly Park, so here's the interesting thing about when I asked you guys to tell me what the first song was you could think of, multiple people said 77 Beverly Park. Totally not one that I would think would be like the first one to come to mind for people, but I do like that. It's a great little instrumental piece, and it's very, very pretty. See, this is one of those pairings that like the two are a little bit like they have the same kind of feel. Reflection, though, I just love the lyrics. It's very like stream of consciousness, and like I just love it. It reminds me of June. Which was from one of the later albums, but I'm gonna give this one to Reflection. This pairing is one of those that like, that's a hard one. I'm gonna give it to Reflection though. I do dig Reflection quite a bit, so let's do that. Oh man, okay. So the next one, and this is you guys, you're gonna love this one, is Kiss versus You Know. Kiss versus You Know. What? Oh my gosh. So Kiss is such a good song from Parade. I wouldn't say it's my favorite. That would be Mountains. But, it's up there. And, obviously it's a huge song, one of Prince's best. But from Artificial Age, if anybody asks me what my favorite song is right now, that's the one that I say. So it's definitely going to be As much as I'm sure all of you love Kiss, is just... You know is good. Is gonna win that one. So yeah, wins that one. Oh my gosh. Like in the hugest of ways. It has to. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are ready for this, because these pairings, I'm telling you. Computer Blue versus 17 Days. So 17 Days, great B-side. I love that song actually a lot. But Computer Blue, that's like the song off of Purple Rain for me. And I've had this discussion with a lot of people who, are like, oh no, it's the Beautiful Ones, or Let's Go Crazy, or, When Doves Cry, or Darling Nikki, or I Would Die For You, or one of the many other dozens of songs off of that. I know it's only 9 songs, but still, almost every other song will be on somebody's best of list and not Computer Blue. If you recall, when I did the very first of these Prince Madnesses, it was made by somebody else, and every other song on Purple Rain was in that Prince Madness except for Computer Blue. So Computer Blue wins. Like it just does. Computer Blue wins that one. It definitely beats out 17 Days. There you go. The next pairing is Dolphin versus Sexuality. So Sexuality, great song from his early days. I love the video, just everything going for it. Dolphin, a little bit weirder of a video, but I think I'm going to give it to Dolphin. I think this is just going to be more of a preference sort of thing. I really, really like his 90s work. So, having Dolphin not win against Sexuality, I think, like, conceptually, I think both songs are just as good as the other, but I feel like Dolphin has the advantage of coming later, and when Prince, I think, was just putting out, and I know everybody's gonna fight me on this, but I felt like he was putting out better material, so there you go. Fight me in the comments if you want. And then the last one is I Want to Be Your Lover, which for me is like, it's a good song, versus Joy and Repetition, which I'm just like, that is such a good song. So I'm sure you can tell just by my reaction. Joy and Repetition wins that. Also, I think it's probably largely due to the fact that it was on the first album I ever had from Prince, being Graffiti Bridge. I have a lot of sentimentality and nostalgia tied up in that song, but also that song is damn good. So Joy and Repetition wins that one. I Want to Be Your Lover was good for pop appeal and crossover appeal and whatnot, but I don't think it holds a candle to Joy and Repetition. So that was all of round 1 for bracket number 3. Let's jump into round 2 for bracket number 3 with DMSR versus Endorphin Machine. Super tough in the first round. In the second round, Endorphin Machine wins it. Because I think they both have that really high energy effect, but I feel like Endorphin Machine pulls it off better. I don't even know how to really explain it, but Endorphin Machine was just like the pinnacle of Prince's like angry, aggressive, "Rawr," and like DMSR, I felt like was maybe the beginnings of that, whereas Endorphin Machine was like the completion. I mean, kind of pun intended, I guess. The next one is Party Man versus Reflection. And again, I think this is going to be one of those where, I think Reflection won. It was up against a song that was very much similar to it, so it was an easy choice. In this case, if it's Party Man versus Reflection, Party Man wins. Almost automatically, just because of just how amazing Party Man is, especially if you start taking in like the aesthetics and, the video and like all kinds of stuff, the extended version, like there's a lot going on when it comes to Party Man. So it's hard to make most songs win against Party Man. So but it is gonna go to Party Man. Party Man versus Reflection, Party Man wins. The next one is Computer Blue versus And just like in the last video, this is the coupling that when I was making my choices, I saw it and I'm like, I don't want either of these songs to not make it through, but these are the two that got matched together. So if I had to compare, so Computer Blue is like, Prince's like huge rock thing for me, especially the extended version that's got the hallway scene in it. And oh my gosh. So Computer Blue, it's a huge contender. Like it would be very hard for almost any song to beat Computer Blue. Enter where Prince is definitely flexing his beat-making chops, his lyrical chops, his just ability to convey simple ideas in, minimalistic versus, very sexy. Oh my God, there's just so many things. I think I have to give it to still. As I love Computer Blue, but I feel like it's on another level, and it's hard even for Computer Blue to beat So it's gonna go to That one just cut away my soul. I hope that Computer Blue understands. The next one's Dolphin versus Joy and Repetition. And again, I feel like this is a little bit of an easier one because I love Dolphin, and if you compare it to Sexuality, it definitely wins. But if you compare it to Joy and Repetition, Joy and Repetition definitely wins. I mean, the guitar solo in there. Again, I've talked a lot about Joy and Repetition on my channel, but I love the fact that, he holds on to like what she's saying until the very end. It adds mystery and complexity to the lyrics. Joy and Repetition wins that one. That one was a little bit easier than the last one, at least. Going into round 3. Okay. Party Man versus Endorphin Machine. I don't even know how to do that one. I'm gonna make a gut decision, and I'm gonna say it's gonna go to Endorphin Machine. Again, because I do prefer Prince's rock chops versus his more pop dancey chops. But I feel like these songs are both on that same level. I feel like they're both here, and then like Endorphin Machine just goes a little bit higher based on my personal preference. So, Endorphin Machine. Yeah, if you ask me tomorrow, it might be different. But today, it's Endorphin Machine. And then it's versus Joy and Repetition. And I'm going to give this one to Joy and Repetition? No, it's going to go to I'm sticking with it. It's going to go to And I think it's because I think it just hits, it rings that bell. It rings my bell in a way, in a different way than Joy and Repetition does. So I feel like whenever I'm like, I need that kick, that like shot of Prince, like nostalgia and stuff, then I'll listen to Joy and Repetition. But I feel like I can listen to anytime, just because it's such a good song. So I'm going to go with which brings us to obviously our final pairing of bracket number 3, which will make it Endorphin Machine versus And I think is going to win for the same exact reason against Endorphin Machine. Endorphin Machine is a powerhouse of a song, but I don't listen to it as often as I listen to So has to win it just for, I guess, its replayability in my mindset, in my current mindset. let's say that that's correct, and then we're just gonna move on, and I'm gonna say that You Know has won bracket number 3. Since we're at the halfway point, hey, if you're enjoying yourself, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, so you always know when Prince's Friend releases a new video. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can hit join underneath this video to become a YouTube member, or go to patreon.com/princessfriend. It's linked in the description. And you can become a patron. I love my supporters, and I thank anybody who has, the couple of extra dollars to throw at me to keep this channel going. With all of that said, let's go into bracket number 4. This is our final bracket, and it is one composed of songs that you guys listed as the last song you thought of when it came to Prince. So, let's see what we got. So we have Electric Chair versus Get Off. This one it's not that hard. As much as I love Electric Chair, I love Electric Chair. It's one of my favorites off of the Batman soundtrack. But Get Off is just such a huge song. Sexy, the imagery that he creates, his rapping in it, the beat is amazing, that scream is amazing. And even when people say they don't like Tony M, they like Tony M and Get Off. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to give it to Get Off. I think it beats Electric Chair. All right, so the next one is Crimson and Clover versus Big Tall Wall. I was actually kind of surprised that Big Tall Wall made the list, but hey, again, Sign of the Times Super Deluxe is out, so a lot of people are thinking about it. And even if it's the last song that you guys think of, you guys are thinking about it. So, but if I had to compare, I think that Prince's cover of Crimson and Clover is genius. Like, it's so good. And as much as I like Big Tall Wall, but then it becomes a conversation of like, is it the first version or is it version 2? And like, I mean, it's a good song, but I feel like there was a reason why it wasn't released. And that's because it's not as good as Crimson and Clover. Prince didn't release it in the 80s because he knew he would one day put out Crimson and Clover. and that it would be better. So I'm going to give it to Crimson and Clover. The next one is Baltimore versus Still Waiting. And to me, Baltimore wins it easy. Still Waiting is a good song. It wouldn't be one of my favorites off of the Prince self-titled album. There's a bunch of others, but that's probably why it ended up on the list of the last song people think about. Yeah, it's an easy one. Baltimore wins. Then we get to And God Created Woman versus Colonized Mind. If you guys know me, Colonized Mind is such a good song in my opinion. It's got that like really like laid back bluesy feel, but it's talking about like really hefty topics. So I really, really dig that song. So I'm going to say Colonized Mind. And God Created Woman is good. Not really one of my favorites off of the Love Symbol album, but I'm surprised that Baltimore and Colonized Mind are the last ones you guys are thinking about. That's surprising to me. The next one is Stare versus Bat Dance. I made a whole video about Stare. Did I make a video about Bat Dance? No. So it's going to go to Stare. The bass line, the horns, everything about Stare is monumentally funky and amazing. And Bat Dance is like is a weird amalgamation of a bunch of songs all smashed together in a very unique way, in a way that I think only Prince could do because it really did work. But putting it up against Stare, nah, Stare wins. So this one was an interesting one. Thieves in the Temple versus Money Don't Matter Tonight. So one is a little bit funky, a little bit more dancey. The other one is a little bit more emotional, a little bit more socially observant, if you will. I'm going to say Money Don't Matter Tonight ends up winning against Thieves in the Temple. And I know that flies in the face of my earlier Graffiti Bridge logic, but in my opinion, it is kind of the better song. And I think that, having a really strong message is also a big factor in its favor. The next one is Around the World in a Day versus June. So Around the World in a Day, great opening track. I love it. Very magical mystery tour feel to it. June, though, has like this haunting feel to it. It's got these very enigmatic lyrics, and again, it's a little bit simpler. It's like some pads and like Prince singing over them, and just like the best way ever. So I'm actually going to give that to June. Oh my gosh, that's hard. I'm going to give it to June because I just feel like June, I think it tops Around the World in a Day. As much as I love that song and that whole album in general. So the last one is Electric Intercourse versus Feel Good, Feel Better, Feel Wonderful. So that's a tricky one. Again, they're both a little bit dancey. I think for me personally, I'm going to give it to Feel Good, Feel Better, Feel Wonderful. Because of its danceability, Electric Intercourse is really good, and I love the dun, dun, part to it. But I feel like Prince had so much fun doing the Feel Good song. There's a lot of love in that song. So I'm going to give it to that song, definitely. So that was all of round one. That was painful. Let's do round two. We start off with Get Off versus Crimson and Clover. It's hard for me to give it to Crimson and Clover because it's a cover. As great a cover as it is a cover. It doesn't have Prince's super, originality in it and whatnot, even though his take is interesting. But Get Off is pure Prince 90s flavor. I'm going to give it to Get Off, and not because it was just covered in Coming to America, but it is just that good of a song. I actually just listened to it the other day, just out of the blue, because I was just I feel like hearing Get Off right now. So Get Off wins it. The next one is Baltimore versus Colonized Mind. This one, I feel like these two songs, they couldn't be more different in the instrumentality and stuff, but I feel like they're kind of similar in Prince is really trying to school you and drop some knowledge on you in that way. If I had to compare them, I guess musically, I would give it to Baltimore because I feel like it is the stronger, more pointed, more direct message. So I'm going to give it to Baltimore. I feel like they're kind of similar. They're kind of on the same level. So I had to find some sort of criteria in order to make a decision, and I would give it to Baltimore for that reason. The next one is Stare versus Money Don't Matter Tonight. And in this case, Stare. Money Don't Matter Tonight's great. Great little piano, motivational song. But no, oh my gosh, it's going to take a lot to beat Stare. So Stare wins. Done. Then we have June versus Feel Good, Feel Better, Feel Wonderful. So I feel like this one's also kind of an automatic win for June, just because it has, again, that hauntingness, and it just brings so much to the table. I feel like Feel Good, Feel Better, Feel Wonderful is great for dancing, but if you put it up against a lot of other songs, it possibly won't win. So I'm going to give it to June. Going into round 3, oh man, we are really putting this down to the wire. It's going to be Get Off versus Baltimore. And, whew, oh man, okay. So what I'm going to say is that Diamonds and Pearls, really wonderful album. Had Diamond and Pearl in the video. They were all dancing. Rosie Gaines looking fine in her boa and whatnot. Prince was dancing his butt off and everything. But then you have to put that against Baltimore, which was such a powerful song, and it didn't necessarily try to win you over with any tricks or anything. It was just a damn good song. So you know what? I think Baltimore is going to win against Get Off. And that is a tough one for me to say because I love Get Off. But I think it's going to be Baltimore. The other challenge in round 3 here is Stare versus June. And I'm going to give that one to Stare. That one is not as hard as much as I love June. And I say as much as I love a lot in these videos. But June is really amazing. Stare is really amazing. But Stare, I feel, is kind of a masterpiece. So I'm going to move Stare on to the next level. And that puts the final showdown of bracket 4 to Baltimore versus Stare. And again, I feel like for the same reasons, Stare is going to win against Baltimore, just because it brought in a little bit more funk. I feel, again, they're kind of on the same level, but Stare's funkier. So it's going to win it. It has a lot going for it, so it's going to be that. So that means that our final 4 of this entire first versus last bracket is going to be If I Was Your Girlfriend versus The Love We Make and versus Stare. Okay, so let's hit this final 4. If I Was Your Girlfriend versus The Love We Make. And I had said that it would take a lot to beat The Love We Make. And If I Was Your Girlfriend is bringing sexiness, lots of love, lots of twisted personalities, lots of just, it's this big ball of energy and just craziness. And then you're going to put that up against The Love We Make, which is exactly the song that shuts all that stuff down. All of the desperation and the loneliness and everything that you feel in the song If I Was Your Girlfriend, The Love We Make solves that. So I'm going to say The Love We Make wins because it is, these two songs couldn't be more opposed to each other. And which do you want to win? Do you want desperation to win, or do you want love to win? So I'm going to say The Love We Make wins this challenge, which puts The Love We Make into the final showdown. Let's go over to the other brackets 3 and 4. This one is probably one of the hardest that I've had to do in any year that I've done this. You Know versus Stare. Again, two of my favorites. I was hoping that when I asked, you know, which one's the first one, which one's the last one, that fewer of my favorites would end up having to go against each other. And in this case, two of my all-time favorites are now fighting against each other. This is just me giving my opinion. I'm going to give it to You Know. And I feel like because You Know is a 100% original composition, whereas Stare borrows a lot from Prince's past in order to get its point across and whatnot. So again, I have to be very meticulous and I have to be nitpicky in order to separate my love for these two songs, which is super duper high. So like, I think I love, You Know at like a 9.2, and like I love Stare at like a 9.175. So like, barely You Know is going to win, but I think You Know is going to win. And that makes the final showdown The Love We Make versus You Know. And okay, I've made some really big claims for both of these songs so far, I think. The Love We Make, super powerful emotional song. I feel like You Know also brings a lot of that emotional, feeling to it. It's about kind of like portraying love in, the purest sense. And, I'm going to defend you. I'm going to protect you. The Love We Make is highly a religious song, whereas You Know doesn't have that going for it. I feel like The Love We Make also, is anti-drugs and is pro-charity and like all of these things. You Know is sexy and has a lot going for it. Oh, man. You Know wins this one. So You Know is it's proclaimed. It's already been said. I already said it out loud and I can't take it back. You Know now wins the 2021 first and last Prince Madness bracket. You Know has to win it. I feel like it is probably one of Prince's strongest songs ever, and definitely is my favorite Prince song to date. I'm sure that might change later on, but right now it is. So again, I love The Love We Make. There's a reason why it ended up in this final showdown, but I think it gets edged out ever so slightly by You Know. So what did you guys end up with your final win? Let me know about your brackets and what your winner was and how it all fell and how it all went down in the comments. Let's discuss it. Again, if you didn't already go grab it, go grab the bracket. There's a link in the description and you can tell me who wins in your bracket. Otherwise, oh my God, this was so much fun. I love doing this every year. We'll be back next year to do it as well. So don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. Please consider becoming a channel supporter. There's links to both the YouTube membership and the Patreon down in the description. Otherwise, may you live to see the dawn. I love you all. I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.